2023 will be the final season where USC is in the Pac-12 conference. After this season, they will be moving to the Big Ten Conference, and expectations for USC are monumental. They are anticipated by many to win the Pac-12 championship, to make the college football playoff. Even Colin Cowherd is claiming that Caleb Williams will be leading this USC Trojans team to the national championship. And their expectations for USC are fairly reasonable. However, I am having mixed feelings about USC going into this 2023 season. The last time we saw USC on the field, they gave up 46 points to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. And it was a game where they had the lead late, but they relinquished it. The game before that, the Pac-12 championship game against Utah, they gave up 47 points. And it was a win and you're in game for USC that night. Now, Caleb Williams was dealing with an injury throughout most of the game. But if you're going to win the Pac-12, make the college football playoff, you can't be giving up 47 points in any game. And this always happens with Lincoln Riley teams, whether it's Oklahoma or USC. The defense always costs them at some point in the season. And I don't want to spoil too much of the rest of the video, but there's going to be a point in the season where I do think that the defense will cost USC at some point in 2023. As I mentioned in the beginning, many are predicting them to win the Pac-12, make the college football playoff. Some even win the national championship, like Colin Cowherd. They are returning 17 starters, and that includes defending Heisman winner Caleb Williams, who last year threw for 4,537 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. He also had 10 rushing touchdowns last season. 52 touchdowns in total for Caleb Williams last year. And despite returning 17 starters, they lost their top receiver, Jordan Addison, to the NFL. And they lost their leading sack leader, Tuli Tuipulotu. I'm not sure if that's how his last name is pronounced. I do apologize if it is incorrect. On the bright side, USC returns their second, third, and fourth leading receivers, Taj Washington, Mario Williams, and Brendan Rice. Their 5 of 6 leading tacklers are back for 2022. Max Williams, Shane Lee, Eric Gentry, Bryson Shaw, and Kalen Bullock. I'm going to get into the USC's 2023 schedule, and I am going to point out that I look at USC's schedule for 2023 as a tale of two halves. And I'm going to present the schedule so that way you can see it if you're watching on a computer or if you're listening on your phone. Feel free to listen, but I'll explain what I'm talking about. USC is one of the teams that begin their 2023 season on August 26th in Week 0. They will host San Jose State. September 2nd, they will host Nevada. September 9th, they host Stanford. And after a bye week, September 23rd, their first road game of the year at Arizona State. September 30th at Colorado. October 7th, they will host Arizona. October 14th at Notre Dame. October 21st, they will host Utah. October 28th at California, or Cal is what most people call them. November 4th. Now we're in crunch time in the college football season. They host Washington. November 11th at Oregon. And they conclude their regular season on November 18th when they host UCLA. Now the tale of two halves in USC schedule. The first 6 games. San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, at Arizona State, at Colorado, at home against Arizona. USC should honestly easily start the season 6-0. And I don't want to jinx them, but With the way the schedule looks, they should start 6-0. And expect the unexpected, because upsets always happen in college football, including week 2 last season. We saw Appalachian State upset Texas A&M on the road, and we saw Marshall upset Notre Dame. So anything can happen in college football. Nothing is guaranteed in the sport. But they should start 6-0. Although, if there was a game where I could see them slipping in the first 6 weeks, my eye is at Arizona State. It's their first road game of the year. I don't know if the starting time for that game has been announced yet, but if it's a night game, I do think Arizona State could have a strong chance of pulling off the upset. But if it's a day game, then I will definitely pick USC to win that game. But the second half of their schedule, this is where their schedule gets brutal. At Notre Dame, Utah, at California or California Berkeley, however you call the school, Washington, at Oregon, and UCLA. I just have a feeling that the schedule is not going to line up in USC's favor down the road. The fact that they are on the road at Notre Dame in a very hostile environment, and Utah, the team they lost to twice last season, back-to-back, and they also have Washington and Oregon back-to-back, followed by UCLA, and I think UCLA, that is a definite win for USC, but you just never know. It is a rivalry game, and when it's rivalries, you can throw all stats and records and rankings out the window because anything can happen. Now, I have all the games in 2 categories, definite wins and 50-50 games. The definite wins are San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, Arizona State, Colorado, Arizona, as definite wins. But, as I mentioned a moment ago, I would not be surprised if Arizona State competed really hard with USC in that game. I have California and UCLA as definite wins as well. 50-50 games, the rest of them, at Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, and at Oregon. I have a feeling USC loses at least 1 or 2 of those games. And the one I have an eye on is at Notre Dame. Because when you look at Notre Dame last season, and if I do get to a Notre Dame schedule prediction video, I will mention it again. But when you look at Notre Dame's games from last year, if they had a quarterback like Sam Hartman, they could have easily won all those games. And I think Sam Hartman is the best quarterback that Notre Dame has had in a very long time. In fact, I think most people would agree that Sam Hartman's the best quarterback Notre Dame has had in ages. And then Oregon, that's always a tough place to play. Washington, I'm very high on Washington this season. I think the upside for Washington this season is monumental. But if I had to predict USC season, I'm actually going to go against the public opinion. As I've seen a lot of the public predict USC to go 11-1 or 12-0, but I think that they go possibly 10-2, maybe 9-3. I just think their defense is going to cost them at some point, just like it always does with a Lincoln Riley coach team. And if I had to guess the losses, it'd be at Notre Dame, I think Washington and Oregon. I do think the fact that the Utah game is in the Coliseum this time, I do think USC wins that game. But I really do think that USC loses to either Washington or Oregon. The fact they're playing 2 strong teams back-to-back towards the end of the year, I don't know, but we'll see. That is all I have for USC. Comment your thoughts down below, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a wonderful day.